next speaker has done it all. She has run marketing at small companies, medium-sized companies, and gigantically huge companies, and she's driven growth everywhere she's been. She's amazing. You're going to love her. Evelyn Swaim, Head of Growth Marketing for Software AG, speaking about the rise of the growth marketer. Evelyn.
Thank you, Jeff. Wow, thank you for that warm welcome. And what a better way to tee this up, right? Thank you, Lauren. I think you teed up the whole my presentation here really well. So I'm going to talk to you about growth marketing, but here's the thing. I'm not going to tell you what it is, because every company has different definition of what growth really means, right? I'm not going to tell you the tech behind it, because there's a plethora of that, right? But I am going to talk to you why it's important and why every single one of us in this room, as marketers, we have to look at our role and how we behave and how we approach our jobs very differently. Okay, so as Jeff said, Evelyn Swaim, I do head growth marketing today for Software AG. In that team, I have a team of growth marketers that it's the program managers, right? It's the Global Demand Center, program campaign managers. It's my digital demand team. It's the web team. And more importantly, it's the marketing operations and tech team, because they enable the growth. Okay, so in this team, it's really important that we have this environment of knowing what our final destination is. What is that end goal for the company, for what we need to do? But we're not on a fixed path, okay? We have to consistently challenge the status quo. We push ourselves to think about what's better, what's next, what needs to change. We foster experimentation. We're allowing each other to fail fast and learning all the time, okay? In the next 15 minutes or so, I hope that I can encourage you to think about how you can rise up as a growth marketer. Now, I'm head of growth marketing. My title could have very well been just VP of Global Demand, which is really where I came from. That's my kind of DNA, right? Field marketing, demand marketing. But it was important that there's a shift. You need to be growth marketing. Why? Because perception is everything. Think about that. If it was just global demand, what is my sales leaders, my product leaders, what are they going to think? This marketing organization, yes, you say it's newly formed, it's just going to bring top of the funnel, okay? Well, at growth marketing, I wanted to position my newly formed team as a team that's really going to fuel growth for the business. The team that's going to own the full funnel end to end, and the team that's going to make sure all those leads that we bring to the top of the funnel is going to convert. It's going to end up being revenue. Software AG is a $1 billion business. It's a 50-year-old enterprise software company. But you know what? We're struggling. Growth has slowed down. Go-to-market has changed 3 years in a row. Does that happen to you guys? Every year there's something new? There's a lot of disruption in the business. We have a new CEO. We have a new CMO. All new leaders in sales. Our regions have new GM presidents. We're going through a lot of transformation. We're facing a lot of challenges, probably similar to the same challenges that you have, right? Our data sits in different systems. Salesforce, Marketo, SAP. We don't have a single view of that customer. Our website is an old CMS. We can't personalize content and deliver that across the buyer's journey. Our brand awareness is still kind of, sucks a little bit right now, so we need to work on that. As I've said, go-to-market strategy has changed. Well, our demand model is still stuck in one place. It hasn't completely adjusted to the new go-to-market yet. Mike Volpe talked about that this morning, right? And even to this day, again, remember, there's a lot of change in the organization, a lot of new leaders. We have to realign because no one really understands anymore what is pipeline. No one has the real definition of what pipeline is. Look, we have to do things differently today as marketers. Yes, it's true. We have to put our customers and our buyers at the center of everything we do, right? And those buyers, we all know this, are empowered today. They have great access to data and information. They self-educate, right? They use their referrals. They use their connections. They're on LinkedIn. They're on Instagram. They're on Facebook. They're on YouTube, right? And with GDPR, their privacy is protected. That makes our jobs so challenging today. So how do we get ahead of the curve? Well, I say we take on that growth marketing mindset and really take the position of being a change agent in our organization. It'll be hard, but we have to do it. Okay, how many of you use GPS? Waze? Okay. I love Waze. It's crazy. I use Waze all the time. I mean, even though I know exactly where I'm going, every time I go home, what do? I put on Waze. I mean, it's silly. But here's the thing with Waze. It gives me choices, right? It gives me choices. It empowers me to make the decision that's best for me and what's important to me, whether that's tolls or no tolls, highways, back roads, whether it's speed or short distance. And Waze keeps me informed throughout my journey. I know what's going on with traffic. I know if there's a pothole in the road I need to avoid. And more importantly, I know where the cops are, so I can slow down, right? Ultimately, I have control. Waze just knows where my destination is and how it's going to get me there. So as growth marketers, we have to be like Waze, right? We have to focus and be clear on what our destination is. And we have to be intimately tuned with our buyers throughout their journey. We have to add value at every single decision-making point they make, right? That's important. And we have to allow our buyers to take a break when they need to. They're self-directing the journey. We're just there to support them. Those buyers, right, are important, as we said. As marketers, we have to present them with choices. We have to surround the buyer. I think one of our speakers this morning said omni-channel, right? That's important. We have to surround the buyers. And we have to be nimble. We have to respond to their behavior. And we have to, stay engaged throughout the whole process, even once they've made it into the funnel. More importantly, once they've made it into the funnel. We can no longer afford, as marketers, to take our MQLs that we've worked really, really hard for, pass it to the sellers, and say, okay, job's yours, I'm done. Can't do that today. We have to stay engaged. We have to help our sellers sell today. Once they get to the MQL, to SAL, SQL, and SQO, we don't let go as a marketer. We have to stay in touch with that buyer, continue to remind them why they selected our brand to begin with in our product, help our sellers, right, throughout, give them the tools and the assets they need to continue to have those conversations. So I had a conversation recently with one of my marketing managers. It's MBO time. Got to set those MBOs, right? And I set an MBO where I said, okay, one of your MBO is to make sure that your growing pipeline, that rolling four pipeline, is moving to 30%. Oh, pushback. Why? Wait a minute, I'm a marketer. I have nothing to do with what sellers are going to do. How are they going to move that to 30%? I have no control. That's what I heard. I challenge all of us to say, actually, we have some control over that. If we know that that's our end goal, we need to move it to 30%, 50% and close. What do we need to do up front to make sure that we're feeding them the right leads, the right contacts in the right accounts, that they're going to care about that, right? And we're providing them the right tools and the assets so that they can progress that velocity through the funnel. That's our job as marketers, not only to make sure that our buyers are interacting with our brand throughout, but we're helping our sellers sell. So last night I was at dinner and I was talking to Claudine Bianchi and Noreen Allen, who's here. They're both speakers at this conference. And we had this conversation about funnel management and pipeline health. And we all agreed, I think you all will too, that we can't just focus on MQLs anymore. Do you agree? Right? It's important that we see that MQL convert to an opportunity, and that opportunity is moving through the funnel. It's important that those leads convert to revenue, right? So what happens, though, when your MQL sits untouched? Who has that problem? Okay. So we just had this problem at our company. I provided my CMO analysis. 3,800 MQL sat untouched. Big problem. That's $43 million in revenue potentially lost. So how do I make sure that we have some sense of urgency to fix our lead management process? Okay, told a story. Imagine you own a vineyard. You're in Napa Valley, own a vineyard, it's beautiful. You have great, juicy grapes on this vineyard, right? You know your buyers, you've done your research, you put your vineyard on a tour schedule, you've posted on social media, you created all this buzz, you have this great tour experience all set up. Juicy grapes on the vine, but you forgot one thing. Big problem. You forgot to engage the pickers. And you know what? Without those pickers, can't take those grapes and you can't make wine. The buyers then go to the next vineyard and you've just lost all of your effort. You've just lost revenue. This is what happens when we're not engaged with sales, right? It's important. That engagement is really critical. Okay, so how do we take growth marketing internally? Well, you need to remember that not everyone in your organization is going to be ready. Okay, I had to do a lot of teaching in this company, in other companies. I had a recent conversation with GM, and he says, Evelyn, how do I have confidence in pipeline? And what are you going to do about the MQLs? What do we need to do with that, right? I had to tell him that, there's a couple of things that we need to fix. There's a coverage issue. There's a lead management process. There's the definition of what developing pipeline is. Is it 10%? Is it 30%? How does sales report on it, and how does marketing report on it? If we're reporting at 10 and they're at 30, guess what? You're misaligned already. Okay, so we have to treat our stakeholders same as we do our buyers. We have to engage at different levels, different functions, early and often. We have to be enabled, right? We have to feel like we can be successful at what we do. We have to solicit input, and we have to empower our teams to make the right call. And we have to evangelize internally. That's important. We don't do that enough. So here's the good news. I believe that marketing is at a tipping point. No other time than now do we have the same stakes as product and sales. We now have a seat at the table. We can impact change in our organizations. So a growth marketer in practice then, the way that we have to think as growth marketers is meaning that, you know what? We have to look after the full funnel end to end. We have to blur the lines. No more silos, right? We have to be tech savvy, digital savvy, PR and social savvy. We have to be data driven. We have to be analytical. But it also means that we have to take responsibility for building brands, for driving demand, for helping our sellers sell, for building fans within our customers, and delivering revenue as well as influence the market. You know what? We have to be superheroes, right? But seriously, to be a growth marketer is going to take marketing chops. That's bar none. That's important. But it also means that we have to have the gravitas and the social skills to influence change beyond our sphere, right? Okay, let's make this stick. I haven't advanced any of these slides, but that's okay. Let's make this stick. We all have a soft spot for a great brand, right? Sesame Street. Did you watch Sesame Street growing up? Great brand, right? Always in touch with the audience, always nudging us along towards a destination, always responding and learning to the changing world and allows the characters to fail, right? And always telling stories. Sesame Street has a growth mindset. So I asked Elmo for a little help with the 4 E's. Rise of Growth Marketer brought to you by the 4 E's. First one, E. E for engage. Who do you engage with? And how often are you engaging? Externally, are you engaging with your buyer throughout their journey, wherever they are at any point in time? E for enable. Do you have the right systems, tools, tech stack, all of those things that you need to be successful? Do you, as a marketer, offer your buyers relevant content, relevant assets, things that are important to them with their persona? Are you offering them the right options and paths? Are you nurturing them throughout their journey? E for empower. Do you have an authority to make a decision? Your buyers are empowered. Are you letting them lead and self-direct the conversation? And finally, E for evangelize. Do you have champions? If you don't, go find them. And make sure you're delighting your customers and you're making it easy for them to be advocates for your brand, right? Growth marketer has to take on a growth mindset. That's going to take time, that's going to take discipline, and that's going to take practice. It's a continual evolution. It's not easy. It can be hard. But you know what? It's time. I invite you to rise up. I wish you success in your journey as a growth marketer. Thank you.